in my opinion, for the energy source.
That might be another conversation.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
By the way, I know how to put gas in a car.
Let's go. Let's go.
By the way, that's
my
hey,
I will
There's a
confess
lot to it.
I
Sure.
did put the wrong gas in my truck one time
Oh,
and
boy.
had to have it go like the system reset. Yeah,
Sure.
that was expensive.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
wrong gas. Jennifer, you're with Nick and Bison.
I am.
I won't disclose the relationship, but that's okay. I didn't know.
That makes it sound really different.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's true. No.
That
Well,
means-
we are on radio, so
Jennifer
there
is our daughter.
there is some obvious opportunity for people to figure that out. I did not know that prior to this morning, which is interesting. Marketing with M Corp, Bison, all of the other businesses that your dad has.
Right.
How do you go about that? Is it social media? Is it print?
Marketing is always changing.
Exactly, which is the point, which is the question, right?
And that makes
Right?
it fun because your day is different every single day that you go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my first job at Bison, I think, was sharpening pencils in Laura's office because I go down on the weekends,
She was
get out of the
dang good
house.
at it.
Hey, well,
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 4 girls.
4.
So, long story short, marketing is really fun. I'm listening to you both talk about how your business has started, and I always try to bring that. I have taught junior achievement classes since I was in high school in the 90s, and mostly middle school. And kids don't think about starting their own businesses. They don't really think about any
No.
careers at that age,
No.
except for what their parents do, or maybe they're teaching because they know what a teacher is. So just knowing that a business can start from something very small or a serendipitous thing, or because you like to work hard, or because you've come from a place that was challenging. I love telling those kinds of entrepreneurial stories to the kids that age. But when I talk about marketing to them, it's trying to connect your customers with your business.
Yeah.
What do they need and how do you provide it best for them? We were taught in marketing school that you're a liaison between the customer and your business.
Dane Patton was on last week, and I'll be very honest. That was an incredibly impactful conversation with Dane. He is a very impressive young man, and he'd gone through a fairly significant transformation in his life, and when we got down to it, he focused on his why, and he said, in order to say yes to some things, you have to say no to others, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
But Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Why, and that was probably one of the most impactful, truly paradigm-shifting books that I had ever read, because his idea or his concept was, you don't want people, you're not looking for people that want what you have. You're looking for people that believe what you believe. And while you can think about it in terms of basketball hoops or auto shops or whatever, but the truth is there's an underlying why somewhere. There's an underlying why, and it's, to me, I have a Bison hoop in my driveway, right? It's
your kids are in the NBA.
Well, no, that didn't happen.
Part of the warning.
Do you
probably lost that.
Do you think I would be here if my son was in the NBA?
We have one too in our backyard, so we're working on it.
But it's about you look at, okay, what's the highest quality product on the market, right? Or where can I take my
where's the best
where can I
customer
take
service?
my car, right?
Where's the best
Nobody
customer
knows where
service?
to take their car these days, because
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And we went through this conversation when I was at Hampton, and shout out to Scott Lockhart and Michelle Keogh, because Joe Hampton, God bless his soul, Nick, you and Joe were very good friends, and Joe would be like, why do we need to tell them what our bid? Well, why do we, right? Yeah. It's just, it's just
build it and they will come.
Build it and they will come, right?
Right,
and
right.
it doesn't work that way,
Right.
right? And Jennifer, this is kind of the part of the evolution of marketing, right? And back in the day, it was literally Joe would do a handshake and people would say, "Sure, I'm with you. We're good." Yeah. But as the world has evolved, it doesn't work that way anymore. And we I won't say we rebranded anything at Hampton because it was still Joe's message. It was still,
Yeah, the brand was really Joe. When
It was
still
Joe.
around.
but we had to
Yep.
figure out
You had
how to
duplicate-
make
you had to
it
figure out how to duplicate.
when Joe wasn't the face of the company.
Sure.
And we came up with this tagline that, create. Joe was always about relationships, right? And so how do you tie? It was a relationship company.
Yep.
So how do you tie that into what they did today? And we came up with creating relationships that build and improve communities,
Mhm.
because that's
Yeah.
what Joe did. That's if you really get right down to
It's awesome.
that's what he did. That was his why. And people don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so
So true.
so this whole conversation about marketing is fascinating. And
I think too many people think the words selling is synonymous with marketing, and they're two totally different things.
no,
That's why there's a marketing.
marketing
manager
is
and a
awareness.
sales- and a sales manager.
Marketing is awareness,
Mhm.
brand awareness.
Mhm.
And we do company newsletters for
Yep.
kind of each of our companies.
Yep.
To send out to our dealers, and could we sell exclusively through dealers? And our newsletters usually don't. We always focus somewhat on products, but we mostly focus on what our company is doing in the community, and we focus on employees, and we
Yep.
focus on
Yeah.
a dealer and a particular project they worked on, and giving back to the community.
Yep.
Sure,
And so
sure,
that's that,
sure.
That's that branding.
Yeah. And Nick, you're an icon in the community. We know
Yeah.
Lincoln and I both. Everybody knows that. So thank you for what you do for everyone.
Well, I didn't want to have to say that, but I mean, since
Well,
you said it,
I did for
since
you.
you said it, I mean, there's not many people in Lincoln
Everybody
that.
sucks up to old guys.
I'm-
It's not gonna last that much
I'm
longer.
waiting, Nick. I'm waiting. I mean, right? So
That
it
was
hasn't-
genuine coming from me, but I
Kendall,
know
you
what
and I are apparently not old enough because
Yeah.
it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
But
Well,
no, Nick,
that
yeah.
is one good thing to say though about marketing is being
Yeah.
that role in the community
Yeah.
is important for the people that come to work for you, for the
Yeah.
people that buy from you,
And-
that say I have a
It
bison
is.
hoop in my
Sure.
backyard.
sure.
I have to say the culture that we have at Bison is
That's
one
so-
that a lot of
gosh.
people that work here are really involved in the community,
And-
not just with their kids' sports teams, but they really take it very seriously. And I think
Yeah.
you guys can all agree
we-
that that's important too, like you said about Joe.
Sure.
It is. And
Part of marketing. It's
Truly, I mean,
not
getting-
as tagline.
I mean, I mean, Joe took it to the nth level when ultimately when he passed. I mean, right, his company passed to a trust. I mean, it didn't. He left it. He wanted it to continue into perpetuity for the
Yeah.
benefit of the community
Yeah.
and the employees. I mean, that's who does that, right?
Well, I think all of us should and want to emulate that, but
Yeah,
some
I know, I just
very
went through
few
that
can.
process just over the last 16 or 18 months, created a similar
Sure.
sort of an arrangement. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Because as an
Fascinating.
entrepreneur, you have
Yeah.
two choices. It's hard to start a business and grow a business, but ultimately you end up having a successful business, and then you say, now what?
Yeah. Exactly.
What do I
Exactly.
do with this thing? And I have 2 kids in the business, and you want it to continue forever, but you want it to continue not just because I have kids in the business. You want it to continue forever because of who we are
Yeah.
and what we do
Yeah.
and the role we play in the community.
And we could talk about culture and community for another hour,
Yeah.
at some point, but we know how important that is. And we're not giving away and giving back. And we're not doing that because we know and we want it to come back. We do it because that's what we have in
Part
our
of who
heart.
you are.
It's part of who we
Part of who
are.
you Yep. Yep.
So
I
very,
did
very
a
impactful.
number of years ago, I was some board I was on. I can't remember which. They were doing a thing where they sent me up to the university to marketing department up there to do a video about what they were doing and whatever.
Yeah.
And the gentleman who did the interview and the video was not from the United States, and we got talking about philanthropy, and he says
Sure.
philanthropy is uniquely American. He says he was from Western Europe.
Interesting.
I don't remember whether it's Spain or Portugal.
Yeah.
He says we don't have stuff like this. The government does all that for us. So all that social services stuff.
Holy moly. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
He volunteered that. So
Wow.
it is interesting.
We
Wow.
had that conversation on the United Way board too, because obviously the partnership between
Sure.
private and public is critical. And with all of the changes in the news every day, are we going to have to rely more on our community developers
yeah.
and our donors and our
Yeah,
philanthropy
yeah,
to get
yeah.
us to where we are today, to provide housing, to provide all of the services that people are
Yeah, it's
used
tough.
to receiving? How is
Sure.
that going to change over time?
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about for this early in the morning.
Well, I was just
It,
saying,
it takes everybody.
I haven't-
Everybody has to
I
do
haven't
something.
had my Red Bull yet, so
Yep.
Yeah.
Luke at the mill down here. I'm gonna give him a heads up, but it wasn't Red Bull, so I'm not prepped to have that conversation.
Lincoln needs a refill at this point. It's
Yeah,
9:30.
Exactly. Jennifer, you mentioned junior achievement,
Mhm.
right? Are you on other boards? Or are you?
I am. I'm on the Agricultural Society board, which manages the event center
Yeah.
in Northeast Lincoln.
Yeah,
And that's another great community place where nonprofits and
that has gone
businesses
through
come
an
together.
incredible transformation with Sandhills
We're
Global
still growing. We have one more phase to reach the founders' initial goals.
vision. Okay.
They're 21 years old out there, and we have a new managing director. It's really fun to see all the fun events
Is
out
that
there.
Ron?
Yes.
Ron
You know
Bohati?
Ron.
I've
He
met
could talk
Ron-
about cars with you.
I've met
We
Ron
should have
many
had him
years
on.
ago.
Come on.
Many
Come on,
years
Ron.
ago, I did.
Come on.
Um,
Yeah, we need to get the car guys all in one place.
Right.
The wonderful thing in my mind about Ron stepping into that role, and I will be very transparent about, I think LIBA has learned a little bit from that, is, bringing somebody in that was deeply vested, deeply
Mhm.
embedded in the organization, right? Has a much higher probability or potential for success. So I'm really glad to see Ron step into that role.
Me too. He takes his job very
Oh,
seriously.
absolutely.
And the board
you-
is
but that's
very
not-
much
but
on the same page.
That's
Sure.
gone through
Sure.
an incredible transformation, at least from the outside looking in. I mean, the Pede family and Sandhills Global, God bless them.
Yeah, what a great partnership to have a
Yeah.
local company.
Yeah.
Jim
Yeah.
Hansen, I''ll give a shout out to Jim.
You always
Jim
need to
is
shout out
on
Jim.
is part of LIBA,
Mhm.
and Sandhills has been a very strong supporter of LIBA. They are a strong supporter of Lincoln,
Exactly.
of
Sure.
the city, and
What can we do to make this city better and more
Better.
successful?
Exactly.
Absolutely. And the
and,
county.
and of course they have some pretty incredible businesses. I love the Piedmontese beef. I'm telling you, it is the shizzle.
Pretty tasty.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
And their golf network doesn't suck. I would say that, because it's pretty incredible, the Dormy network. So we are going to take a quick break, but I am with Nick Kusick, Jennifer Rollinson,
Mhm.
right? With Bison, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive, and you are listening to the Lincoln Independent Business Association Business Hour, and we will be back shortly.
Hey Stars fans, I'm goaltender William Prowse. Be here at the Icebox on Saturday, March 22nd, when we host the Sioux Falls Stampede at 6:05. It's Pucks and Paws night at that box, so you can bring your dog to the game with you. Lock in your seats for March 22nd now by getting your tickets at lincolnstars.com.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
It may not feel like it, but planting season is on its way, and now's the time to upgrade your equipment with a late model John Deere planter from Acres Equipment. Acres has an entire lineup of John Deere planters equipped with the latest technology to ensure planting accuracy throughout your field. And to get you up and going, each planter purchased from Acres includes in-field startup support from one of our Precision Ag professionals. Warmer weather is coming soon, so don't delay. Visit your local Acres for details. Offer expires April 30th, 2025.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
At Lincoln Family Chiropractic, they believe everyone deserves to live a pain-free and active life. Whether it's neck pain, shoulder pain, or lower back pain, Lincoln Family Chiropractic specializes in customized care for every patient to promote faster healing, allowing you to get back to an optimal life. Lincoln Family Chiropractic's team specializes in treatments such as dry needling, cupping therapy, and traditional adjustments. Give Lincoln Family Chiropractic a call today, 402-484-5166. Visit them online at lincolnfamilychiro.com or in person, 1 block south of 70th and 8th Street in Lincoln.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus. Garage doors and more. 93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Early break. All I can still picture is him talking to Bill Murray's son. And that was one of my, I could just see him. Hey, listen, your dad was awesome in stripes, but you need to shuddy. You need to shuddy.
Shut your mouth,
Shuddy.
Mr. Murray.
Yes, your dad was incredible. And what about Bob? Just stop.
I've never heard shuddy before.
Hey, I love
Shuddy.
I love
Hey,
Groundhog.
Shuddy. I'm going with that now forever. I love
With Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by U-Stop and Whitehead Oil.
Right? We have to give Mark some kudos now, right?
Mark, come on, Mark.
Mark was just in here. Mark's down here every Saturday morning at the mill in 93.7 The Ticket. Because partly, I think, because he wants to make sure that we mention him. You know,
He told me
And
thank
then
you
you
for
don't
buying
mess
his.
up.
Oh,
His,
so
I
you
have
gotta-
a little bit.
There's
big
like
time,
Lincoln
big
to
time,
mess up.
big time. So,
Shout out to
well,
Mark.
welcome back. I am again. I'm Lincoln's there. I'm with Nick Kusick, Jennifer Rawlinson with Bison, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive. We have had a wide-ranging conversation, which has been pretty fascinating. So we talked a lot about community involvement, and Nick, you particularly, I think, Kendall referred to you as an icon, which you probably wouldn't have, but
Major
Well,
stretch.
you know,
well, that's how I think.
I don't even know how to spell
I-
it. Is that a four-letter word? Is that a four-letter word?
It's only 4 letters. But we talked about, Kendall, you actually said it. The reason you all do what you do for the community isn't because of promotion or part of a marketing strategy. It is part of your core fundamental values and beliefs. And Nick, you mentioned being on Nebraska Wesleyan's board, and I remember your deep involvement in the Career Academy, right? And continuing to push that as part of our community. Talk a little bit more about other things that you've got going on.
Certainly just to talk a little bit about the Career Academy. I'm actively involved in workforce development. That's, one of the big obstacles.
Sure.
One of the big obstacles to growth of our economy is workforce. And of course it ties to the whole immigration question. And I'm on the state chamber board, and obviously immigration is a 4-letter word that has more than 4 letters.
Sure.
And there's a difference between illegal immigration
And
that
immigration.
conversation and the conversation about wanting to get the right people. Over half of our employees are not Native American, not native,
Well,
native to the United States.
Remember,
Sure.
at one point,
Yeah.
everybody,
They're new Americans.
pretty much everybody was in this country was an immigrant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You
yeah,
know,
you want to roll it back.
The
for
first,
sure.
well, we could argue whether they were first or not first, but you know, the ones from England were immigrants, right?
But so the bottom line is, I've been, actively involved in workforce development. Our company has done a lot of that, particularly in the manufacturing sector, but also in
Sure.
the construction center. We're partnering right now with what's the organization? Lighthouse, with the Lighthouse.
Sure.
They have an
Great,
after
great,
school-
great
after
program.
school, and they're looking for a space to do a career manufacturing space.
Sure.
With some machinery and also for construction. We
Mhm.
have some excess
Sure.
space because we're moving out to a new location, and part of our downtown space is where our offices are. Our corporate
Mhm.
offices they have some room in the back.
Mhm.
In the back.
About 12,000.
So your
So-
existing space is the Haymarket.
Existing space. We grew up in the Haymarket. We started with 3,000 square
Yep.
feet, and
So great.
ultimately got to where
So
we had like 15 buildings that we were occupying, which is highly inefficient for
This is true.
manufacturing.
Take it outside.
If you had,
Right.
if you had one garage, if you had a whole bunch of garages
Right.
all over town, and he serviced cars in
Yeah.
in each garage, and
It'd be like that.
send a technician.
So
out.
where are you moving?
Not efficient.
We're moving out to matter of fact, we moved part of our operation. We're waiting for our new powder coating line to be done, but out at 1100 Southwest 6th Street, which out by Lincoln Lincoln Industries.
Oh, okay.
We had
Okay,
a site
yeah.
out there. So, but just going back to the community involvement, I was on the Bryan board, certainly, Wesleyan. I when I was asked to get on the Wesleyan board, we had no tie. So our kids didn't go to Wesleyan. I didn't go to Wesleyan. My wife didn't go to Wesleyan.
I'm sorry.
I only basically, I only barely knew where Wesleyan
Little
was.
shade.
'Cause we live in the
Well, Lincoln
southeast
shade.
part of
A
town.
little Lincoln
It's
shade
not in the
there.
southeast
It
part of
is
town.
not in the southeast part of
But I
town.
always
No.
knew it was a great institution. So, I like to, even at my advanced age of 73, I like to do things that I learned something different. And I
Yeah,
wasn't really
yeah.
familiar with higher education at the collegiate level that
Yeah,
much. I never had
at the four-year
involvement.
college.
So I'm learning a lot at the 4-year college level. So,
Darren Good is
yeah.
is a gem.
yeah.
He has been and I John White. I had the distinct privilege of knowing John and Marty when I was actually all-state choir when I was a senior in high school. I actually stayed with John and Marty, and
All-state choir.
when I got to campus, I had a handwritten note in my student mail. Remember the day we had student mailboxes? Yeah, I had a handwritten note in my student mailbox from John and Marty saying, stop by.
Yeah.
I mean, great. But Darren Good has been an equal, I would say, to John White, and John was a incredible individual, and I have great respect for what Darren is doing for our community as well.
You're doing great.
So
So a lot of great institutions in
Yep.
in Lincoln and
Yep.
of course across Nebraska and across
Yep.
the U.S. And everybody has to kind of pick the ones that they
Yep.
they think they can have some influence.
Sure.
on.
Yep.
Sure.
That's
And they're
kind of-
passionate about.
and
Yeah,
passionate
sure.
about.
Kendall, what do you do outside of managing your workforce at A1?
Well, I'll tell you, we've got, our kids keep us super busy. So 15, 13, and 10, and my wife is out of town this weekend in Minneapolis with the oldest. So I'm in survival mode as a single
Hey, frozen pizza,
parent
man, it
right
works.
now. I know we did some drive-through last
Down at
night, so
Papa
I'm
Murphy's.
pretty proud of myself. And my wife is probably thinking what the kids eat last night this morning, but we're fine. We're fine. But again, the kids consume our time outside of work. But again, we are trying to, we've given away multiple cars over the last few years to folks that Catholic Social Services. We partner with them the last few. John Sukup, another great human.
John, well,
John's a great human.
So what does that involve? I'm not aware. I'm not sure.
Catholic
I know
Social
what that-
Services?
Yeah,
Well-
but the giving a car away.
Well,
how does that work?
when we have people that come in with a vehicle that just hasn't been maintained properly, and they get to the point where, oh boy, there's some pretty significant repairs here, and then they decide, well, we're just going to get something different. We're tired of driving it. It gives them an option to get out of that vehicle and
We're
get
not gonna
something
fix
different. We're not going to fix it, and then we purchase it from them, and then I use my resources in the automotive repair industry in terms of parts, and we get whatever parts at cost, knowing that we're going to give this away to somebody that needs a vehicle to drive. And
Nice.
we've done that multiple times. And this isn't something that we advertise, but it's something that, down to our core, I know what it's like to grow up with nothing. And we also know that people are challenged in different spaces in life that they have no control over being challenged. So when we can give back, and I've had a lot of hugs over at Catholic Social Services from people that we've given cars to, single mothers, a family that lost their child in an accident. So that kind of stuff is who all of us are. I love it. I cannot do enough of it, to be honest with you. So we're full speed ahead with that. We help out with LPS and the lunch programs that elementary schools that are underprivileged and have some lunch debt. We help there too. Again, it's not something that we like to talk about out loud.
I respect that, Ken. You and I have known each other for
Yeah.
not as long as I've known Nick. And Nick, I don't think your slice has gotten any better on the golf course.
Oh boy.
No, I
No.
think it's gotten better.
You think so?
No, it's better. As it,
Slice-
better,
slice-
better. It's gotten more pronounced. Well, hey, it takes a while to
hand my driver. It's
Been working on it.
Right. I can't. I'm
takes
out
a
on
while to
that.
perfect
I'm out
that.
on that.
I get that. I get
Sport.
that.
I cannot do it. I tried.
get that.
Well-
Nick and I played golf together for a very, very long time on Saturday mornings, and I cherish those memories.
I have
But-
to say though, before we move on, parenting is also volunteering. I mean,
Oh,
you've got the people who are
agreed.
checking
Sure.
people in for these
Yeah.
volleyball tournaments and refereeing and being the timekeepers.
Yeah.
And I know I was on boards and then had Kate, and by the time she hit high school, I said, I'm never going to see her if I
Yeah.
don't switch gears to
Engage.
whatever she's
Yeah.
doing. And I think parents do that all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether
Giving-
you're a
giving
pivoting.
back takes
parent in
many
your
forms.
classroom or
Sure.
teaching your
Yeah.
kids JA
It sure
class,
does.
there's a million things that
Sure.
you need more credit for.
Yeah. Well, we're getting another 48 hours of survival mode for me. So
Yeah, well,
I'm going to make it.
Well, you need
Call
lots
you
of credit
Monday.
for that.
I'll call you Monday morning.
Parenting
Yeah,
is a great
shoot me a
community
text.
builder.
But Kendall, I know you don't advertise that. I respect that because you're humble in that sense, and I would have probably expected that when for you to say that. But I do think it's important for people to know in an appropriate way
Sure.
that you
Sure.
do those
Sure.
things because
Sure.
I mean, in part, here's my point. In part, because we had my daughter had a vehicle that was a Jeep that had something in the rack and pinion was going out, and it was going to be pretty expensive to fix, and we just went,
Sure.
forget it,
Sure.
not
Sure.
fixing it, not worth it,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And so I think it's important
Yeah.
that people know that you do that, because that
Maybe that generates some more opportunities.
might create.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Is it might
Yeah,
create
that's a good point.
opportunities,
Lincoln.
not
That's a good point, brother.
not from a promotional perspective, but truthfully, had I known,
That's an option.
3 months ago
Sure.
that you did that,
Sure.
I would have picked
Yeah.
up the call. I would have picked the phone and called you and said, "Hey, are you
Yeah.
are you interested?"
And
Because
yeah.
we weren't going to get anything for the car anyway.
There's a lot
That's the point.
there's a lot of needs out there, from
There are.
Catholic Social Services to just a lot of needs in the community. So that's something that we would welcome a little bit more of. Yeah.
Since this is the LIBA Independent Business Association hour, I think it's appropriate to say that I was super actively involved in the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Call it a sister organization.
We all
Sure.
have a role to play.
We do.
Sure.
We have
Sure.
slightly different
Mhm.
directions,
Mhm.
slightly
Sure.
different membership, some overlapping
Yep.
membership because
Yep.
we're members of the chamber and
Yep.
As
members of
are
the
we.
state chamber
As are we.
and-
Yep. Yep.
But I think one of the misconceptions that many people have, that some of them hopefully are listening this
Yeah.
morning, is
I
that
know where you're going.
big bad business. They're just greedy. They charged me too much for fixing my car.
Sure.
Or they're
Yeah.
rich people who drive, whatever, and they don't give back. But that's the reality. There are organizations, business organizations, private sector who do more promotion of the.
Oh,
giving
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But then there's just tons of businesses who just quietly give back.
Yeah.
Whether they're giving back to their employees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether
There's-
they're giving
there's-
back to organizations on a
Sure.
formal basis or an
Sure.
informal basis, and I think that is the nature. And I mentioned kind of during our break that a number of years ago I had an opportunity to do a little video interview with somebody at the university. I was a professor at the university who was doing these videos for one of the nonprofits I was involved with,
Sure.
and he said philanthropy is uniquely American.
Yes,
He's
you
from
did.
Western Europe. I can't remember whether he's from. I think
That's
he's from Spain.
incredible. I'm
But he
fascinated
said,
by that.
In in most of Western Europe and most of the rest of the world, philanthropy, I mean, it's really government.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
does all that stuff.
Which is kinda-
we certainly have that. And Jennifer
There's some.
mentioned that, but we also, I mean, it's a huge percentage of making life better for people is done by
By businesses.
organizations.
That's
Boots
one
on
of
the
the things I
ground.
love about
Yeah.
LIBA and the small businesses that they do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, as Nick eloquently said, you are listening to the Lincoln Independent Business Association Business Hour, sponsored by Whitehead Oil Used Up. This segment. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back for our wrap up.
Muchachos has been serving Lincoln delicious pork, brisket, and chicken tacos for several years now, as well as Hatch Mac nachos and more. Muchachos also brings you close to the taste buds of your favorite local college athletes with NIL deals like the B3 burrito for Bella Bacon of Nebraska softball and many more. See a variety of different NIL options at Muchachos at 11th and K or order online at yomuchacho.com. Open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday.
LES wants your feedback. Help shape your electric utility's direction and priorities by taking an anonymous online survey. Make your voice heard before the survey closes on April 30th at les.com/survey.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off your enrollment. The next 10-week challenge begins on April 12th. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Hey Stars fans, I'm goaltender William Prowse. Be here at the Icebox on Saturday, March 22nd, when we host the Sioux Falls Stampede at 6:05. It's Pucks and Paws night at that box, so you can bring your dog to the game with you. Lock in your seats for March 22nd now by getting your tickets at lincolnstars.com.
Hey, it's Chad with Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the #1 selling complete post-workout product, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out, exercises, or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today, try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by Ascend Aesthetics.
Welcome back to the LIBA Business Hour, and thank you to Ascend Aesthetics for their sponsorship of this segment. Nick, we were having a conversation off air, which is always fascinating to hear what we talk about when the microphones aren't on. And I was referring to last week's segment with Dane Patton and Bats to Rats, and you know, I without calling Dane out particularly, I was thoroughly impressed with, you know, how he has overcome some of the challenges in his life. And, you know, that's one of the interesting questions that I like to ask people in an interview. What have you ever overcome? Right. And, you know, when you talk about, you know, Kendall, your experience and
sure.
But
let's let Kendall go first.
Yeah, let's get no. So Nick, you brought up an interesting topic for I think our last segment. You know,
Sure.
headwinds for business. What do you see?
Well, a business is not, you know, there's not just one kind of business.
No,
Certainly
no,
Kendall.
no.
I mean, it's
Yep.
interesting that Kendall's here with a local automotive, successful business, and we have a international business,
Manufacturing.
manufacturing.
Yeah.
So,
Different,
you know,
for sure.
So different headwinds.
Sure,
But
sure.
I would have to say for us, certainly, if you'd asked me this question a year or a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago,
Be different.
clearly it would have been workforce.
Yes.
Mhm.
Where do people come from? Whether they're trained workforce or whether they are low skill entry level workforce, because we of course have both.
You need both.
And you need both. And people hanging parts on a powder coating line and people who are significant trained programmers for our automated equipment. Today that has changed, quite honestly. Not that there isn't still workforce, you know, issues in many segments. Construction, I'm sure, automotive, probably
big time.
As you know, what a guy who turned a wrench 25, 30 years ago. Cars are a little different today. So I got to keep.
I didn't understand him 25 years ago. I have no hope.
Yeah, me either. So, but today, I think, particularly in very recent times, inflation. You know, our best year was about 2 years ago. Quite honestly, we've kind of flatlined a little bit because there was so much money in the economy from COVID. For lack of better terms.
Pent up demand.
All the different programs that went to schools and all kinds of programs that fed into a lot of industries,
right?
Not just ours.
Right.
But so obviously the fact that that's drying up at the same time, there's significant conversations about tariffs. And I think the biggest challenge to any business, the commonality, whether it's Kendall's business or our business, even though they're dramatically different, is uncertainty.
Sure.
You know, if you know where we're headed, you can work around it and plan for it. But if you don't know where you're headed, and that's from my view, that's where we're at today.
Sure. Right.
Because don't even know. So
Well,
it'll be challenging.
and it may not be so much as I don't know where we're headed, or I'm confident.
Yeah.
Right. I'm confident in where we're going. I may not know exactly where it is, but I'm confident in the economic, you know, factors or whatever. I'm confident that I can put another $250,000 into a machine line, or I can expand my business into a new location. You guys are both, you know, expanding your businesses.
Well, just put it into a very concrete basis. 3 years ago, we made a decision we were going to finally get out of our multiple buildings downtown and get
efficiency
and build an 85,000 square foot addition to our South Lincoln facility.
85,000. I'm just checking that number.
Pretty small. Pretty small.
No, if you see it, it is not.
I would not make that decision.
You need to come tour.
I've seen. I will.
Yeah.
I have seen. I've driven by it. It's big. Awesome.
So
Looks
you
great.
know, it's certainly a misnomer. I mean, I don't think any economist would tell you otherwise. That ultimately the consumer pays. Ultimately, the consumer pays for tariffs.
They will.
And inflation.
Yeah.
They will.
But give it pass on.
But I, you know, and again, you know, my son's taking economics at Wesleyan, and he would probably have an opinion on this. But you know, I look at it. I do understand. I do understand the mechanics of what the tariffs are trying to do, because what the tariffs are trying to do is make American products more affordable.
Sure.
And or if you think of it from the other opposite perspective, make foreign products less affordable by imposing tariffs
and appealing.
But you guys are both involved in, like I said, expanding your businesses. You know, Kendall, when's your move in? What's your
I'm there every night, and
you're sleeping there. I get it.
No, my wife told me, "Why don't you just put an RV on that parking?" I was like, "Well, it's not a bad idea." But
well,
maybe she does.
Kendall, when are you leaving again? Oh, she's gone this weekend. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Right. I did think about putting an RV on there for a while, but we're probably 90 days away from opening. But you know, again, from tariffs to really workforce and skilled labor. And we could unpack that for a while, and both Nick and I and you and all of us in this room in terms of where are we going to get the real skilled labor at? And are we growing enough of that skilled labor through our schools right now? And I think LPS has done a good job of pivoting in that space from not really concentrating on skilled labor and now having some pockets of skilled labor courses. And LPS, Lincoln High, I think, has a mechanics course there. But again, from our perspective, it's we like you talked about, Lincoln, okay, we have a strat plan. We have a 3, 5, 10-year strategic plan. We know what growth we want. We know what we want to get really good at, but how are we going to get there with all of the things that we have to juggle in terms of tariffs and tariffs on the automotive side? We're looking at, what are we going to do with when some of our product from overseas in Germany, we can get Rover parts and things like that, maybe doubles. We're going to have to absorb some of that.
Don't show up.
Then we're going to have to pass some of that on to the consumer, like Nick said. So a lot of challenges, but hey, we're kind of built for that. Let's go. Let's just got to figure it out.
My former business partner, Elmer Wessel, now deceased, but before we split up, he was always complaining about all the obstacles to business. As well, if there wasn't obstacles, everybody would be doing it.
Sure.
Everybody would do it. A million competitors. So
Sure.
Those of us who overcome those obstacles.
Well,
one way or another.
There is definitely truth to that. This is the thing that I enjoy about this opportunity to talk is that listening to people that are facing those challenges.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, how do you adapt? Improvise, overcome.
Sure.
Adapt.
Sure.
So, Jennifer, thank you for joining us today. Nick, appreciate you being here. Kendall, with the three of you, we could go on for probably 2 hours here. There's a lot of things that, Nick, you've been involved in so many things. Well, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
On Lincoln.
I didn't buy you
on Lincoln.
I didn't buy you breakfast. What makes you think you're going to get lunch? But I was looking forward to today so much because you've been involved in so many things, and we could have gone pretty much anywhere. Kendall, I've known you for probably about 15 years.
Yep.
And have greatly appreciated who you are as well. So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah.
For
quick
sharing,
hour.
Your thoughts, and appreciate you being here.
We appreciate LIBA and this hour opportunity. And thanks to LIBA for all they do.
Yeah, and Lincoln, thanks for running point for LIBA. So good spot for you, brother.
It's my privilege. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Hope to do it for some time longer.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of people have something to say about that, but Nick, I don't want you to make any phone calls.
Nick's getting his phone out when he gets in the car.
I had some trepidation walking in. I get it. Okay. Oh, I love you guys. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. You've been listening to the LIBA Business Hour. I'm Lincoln Zier. We will be back again next week with Diode Technologies and hear about some of the very, very fascinating things that they are doing. So please join us again next week at 9 o'clock in the morning, 93.7 The Ticket.